had the opportunity to actually talk with the folks from Comedy Central about their brand new show, Krod Mandoon and the Flaming Sword of Fire.
Ooh.
It was wacky and wild, wasn't it?
Yeah, it really was.
All right, let's hear let's learn about Krod and his sword.
Krod!
Krod, 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 Krod. We're doing the whole thing on the flips. Everybody ready? We're ready. Everybody ready? We're going to do this fast and furious, down and dirty, because I know you guys have been answering the same questions over and over.
We love it.
Really? We're getting better at it.
We are. Very succinct.
I'm loving that.
We'll get back at the beginning.
You guys, by now you have all your answers down, right?
I think so.
All right,
Guys,
very
you
cool.
were just trying to
Yes.
keep... I'm sorry. I know you love each other.
Come up here and stand next to Sean.
May I? No.
I get to India. All right, we are here with the executive producers and two of the cast members. I would have to say the leads of Krod Mandoon. Did I get that right?
Yep.
Krod Mandoon. Krod Mandoon and the Flaming Sword of Fire?
That's correct.
All right, and this is debuting on Comedy Central April 9th at 10 p.m. It's a lead-in to The Daily Show. You're doing 2 episodes. Hopefully you can bump the ratings for The Daily Show.
That would be
A little
nice.
less topical.
Yes.
Set in the fantasy realm. We don't cover the day's events quite as thoroughly as they do, but we
And
try.
this is the very first show that Comedy Central has done that's actually set in the fantasy realm.
It's not especially comedy and fantasy is that's an unusual combination for any network. I'm so happy that Comedy Central has said yes.
Last time it was done, it was Mel Brooks and Robin Hood, Men in Tights, I think.
Men in Tights. We're just
We feel that that's a different world from the world we're moving in. I mean, that's sort of slightly more spoofy, a little bit more sort of slapsticky. What we've done is made a show that we feel that could actually just have been a straight action adventure show. We don't really break the fourth wall. Mm-hmm. The world is very self-contained, but it is. But we have a comedic take on that, so it's slightly different from the Men in Tights or Meet the Spartans or any of those kind of movies.
All right, so you're not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. You're actually staying in the world.
We felt when Brad and I and Peter first met. One of my first questions was, we going to treat this as if we're making it seriously, even though it is obviously a comedy.
Right.
We wanted to keep a sense of this is a real world, and we're not going to betray that for a joke. We're not going to just for something funny. We're not going to have somebody on a penny farthing bicycle in the background. We wanted to.
It carries all the way through. Everything sort of.
I got it. Penny farthing.
I don't know what a penny
farthing
farthing
bicycle.
is,
Absolutely.
Is it a penny farting bicycle? I've never heard of one of those.
That's what happens when you ride on a penny farthing bicycle.
I think sometimes when the jokes come from that. And by the way, I think there are great spoofs out there, and Mel Brooks is somebody I love much of what he's done. But I think
it's not like he's going to watch this,
well,
so you don't have to kiss his ass.
I do love him. But I think sometimes it comes at the expense of character, and it says, don't worry, you don't have to care about these characters for the long run. You just have to care about this joke. And as much as I want jokes that are huge and hit you hard, at the end of the episode, if you're not also caring about the characters in the story, you may not want to come back.
So the comedy comes out of character, as opposed to coming out of things that are just foisted in out of nowhere.
Because it carries all the way down. Everything to our costumes, which are completely legitimate. They're made by someone who's an expert in the field of period clothing. Mm-hmm. So there's no zippers, there's no Velcro, there's no nothing. We're laced in head to toe. And again with the sets, they try and make them as genuine as possible. They're really well researched, and it's all throughout the show. Everything's done legitimately and the right way, so that the comedy can be allowed to be the icing on the cake.
It's great. And what are some of the comedic elements that you guys have thrown into it in terms of the characters?
Well, I'm actually more of a straight woman, to be honest. I mean, you have to kind of understand the comedy and the timing around you. But Annika kind of keeps it straight. We have some great stand-up and improv artists in the cast: Marcus Ray, Kevin Hart, Matt Lucas. Sean is very funny, so I'll carry it on to you.
Yeah.
I think with India's character, I don't think you're completely the straight man, but in terms of
she would never be the straight man.
No, she would not. She appeals to straight men.
I'm sure you appeal to gay men as well.
But one of the things, what she did when you start building out a show, when you start with your named character, and you say, all comedy's conflict, and what's a conflict? The conflict for him is he's in love with somebody who is going to make his life a living hell. And that is basically someone that you can never tame and someone you can never stop being in love with. And that's kind of how we started building the layers of Annika's character, by making her weapon of choice her sexuality, which is part of her religious background. And so imagine the hell of being tied to this woman and in love with this woman and knowing that she is not going to have any monogamy.
You're not taking that from your own personal experience.
Well, we can talk off.
All right, off camera.
But similarly, his band, the Krod's band of warriors that fight and travel with him, again, as Brad said, Comedy's Conflict, they're all just a tiny bit below par. You know, they're just... They're not the elite fighting force that he wishes them to be. They're a little bit crappy, let's say.
All right, a band of baboons.
Yes.
And speaking of which, I just have to ask, because of the name Krod Mandoon,
Yes.
do you use that? Are you playing on that? Because I wanted to say Crab Rangoon. I wanted to say Krod Mangoon. Is this a thread that
It's
runs
one of those
through it?
titles that I firmly believe that, you know, when I first read it, I thought, that's a strange title, I don't know. And I think that it's one of those things that hopefully we've made something that is so good that when you look back in retrospect, you'll go, it could only have been called Krod Mandoon and the Flaming Sword of Fire. I think the first time people heard this band called the Beatles, they were like, the Beatles? That doesn't sound like a very appealing band. But now, how could we imagine them as anything else? And I think that's
you've
what
just compared us to the Beatles.
Well, and on that note, I think it's time for us to end. Beautifully put. Everybody watch Krod Mandoon and the Flaming Sword of Fire on Comedy Central, April 9th, 10 p.m. That's a Thursday. And to check out for more information, go to ComedyCentral.com. Thanks, everybody. A real pleasure.
Thanks. Go for the Beatles.
I should have added that we're bigger than Jesus Christ.
I'll put that in. We really appreciate the folks from Krod Mandoon taking the time to talk to us. And I got to tell you, they were a lot of fun in a cheap suit.
Yeah, no, that's a cheap suit.
That's a cheap shot. All right, until next time, we'll see you in the Funny Papers. You're the greatest.
No, you are.
No, Anna Cody
No,
is the
you.
greatest. Krod Mandoon.